I'm back again. Right now, we have panelists. I'll just introduce the panelists over here. Honorary Beatrice Purve, the board member, Uganda Investment Authority, was not able to come today. And she has been joined. Miss Rita Magula is basically representing her. She's a senior investment executive from Uganda Investment Authority. Then we have Honorary Helen Adoa, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries from Uganda. And then we also have Ms. Jennifer Mutraki, who is the CEO of Uganda Airlines. So please, can you have some applause over here? So to start off with the panel discussion, I want to actually put a few points out there, with something which we have been facing a lot of times. I mean, we always talk about investments into Africa, and I'm talking about the private equity side, the financial institutions, family offices, and private investors who are always looking to invest into Africa, but not much has happened through 15 to 20 years. I mean, somewhat has, but it's not as equivalent to the topics that we discuss, the kind of promotions that we do, and definitely is because of a lot of challenges that we see in that region, right? So I think today with these experts on board, we would like to know much more and what is the best ways of going and investing into Africa, what are the regions, what are the things. Just a few things over here to mention, which is very interesting, is since 2000, the World Economic Forum has identified more than half of the world's fastest growing economies are located in Africa. The African continent is incredibly rich in natural resources. It has untapped reserves of natural gas and resources, oil, 12% of the world's reserve, and largely unexploited hydroelectric power. It is home to vast gold, platinum, uranium, cobalt, and diamond reserves. Currently, only 10% of Africa's land is being cultivated. Yet, around more than 60% of the world's cultivatable land is in Africa. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2030, over 40% of Africans will belong to the middle and upper class, and there will be a higher demand for goods and services. In 2030, household consumption is expected to reach 2.5 trillion, more than double of 2015 at 1.1 trillion. Now, a region which has such a big opportunity, and there's a vast majority of investors and people who want to actually move into that region are still not able to get there that easy. So starting off with today's panel, we would like to discuss on the major challenges and how the ecosystem has developed and what are we looking at it right now from the past till now, and what can we expect in the future. And this will be not only about the traditional conventional assets, but also the digital world, that the world is moving towards blockchain and crypto, and how does Africa see it as well. So let's start with up till now, the last 10 years of the journey for Africa, how do you see, what are your views? And I would like to start with Ms. Helen Adoa. What are your comments on that?
Thank you, moderator, ladies and gentlemen. I am here in 3 capacities. In my own capacity, the second one, I represent one of the districts in Uganda in Parliament. And then the third, I am a Minister of State for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and I'm in charge of fisheries. Now you need to know who I am. I was born in 1977 to the family of 7 boys, and we are only 2 girls. And I was born in a humble family of peasants, but they were better by the time I was born. When I was 11 years, another neighboring tribe came and removed every animal, making our family to be now among the poorest families. Now, this was the time I would be going to secondary school. So it made me to stay home for 1 year, and by the time I went to secondary, I was already very poor, not able to afford any school fees. Now, when I was taken to a secondary school, I went without fees. And I went to my head teacher's compound and started sweeping his compound. One day he wakes up with his wife and get me cleaning their compound. They asked me what I was doing. I said, I am here so that you can look at me and give me a bicycle. I want that bicycle to give my father. When they gave me a bicycle, I took that bicycle to my father, and my father started buying fish and bringing it to my school and the neighboring market. I went to my teachers and asked my teachers, can you be customers of my father? And some of them accepted, and that is how I was able to get school fees for studying for my O and A level. While I was in A level, a British couple happened to be among those who came to renovate the school where I was. And because I was already now a head girl, very active head girl, and a leader of Scripture Union, they liked the way I was doing things. And they invited me to UK if I finished my A level, which I did. When I went there, I finished like 3 months. I came back and did my business course. 5 years down the road, I asked them, can you support me invest in education? They were shocked. And he said, you are only 23 years. That was 2001. You are only 23 years, and you are talking of building a school. I said, yes. Can you give me some money? They were very upset, but later gave me $6,000 US. Of course, their money, that was 10,000 pounds. The moment I got that money at 23 years, I bought land, 17 acres. I put up one building, which did not get finished. They were very upset with me. I told them, don't worry, I don't need money from you. What I need is your prayers. I went to my father. I said, do you have any money? My father had sold his rice, and he gave me 2 million Uganda shillings, which is like $500. Then I went to a money lender and borrowed more money, and I roofed the building I'd started. I called the students over the radio to come and start studying in my school. I invited my British couple to come and see what I had done. I had 110 students, but they were very smart. And people didn't understand. The local community asked, is this girl crazy? At 23 years, how can she start a school? But I want to tell you today, 20 years down the road, that school is one of the best private schools we have in Eastern Uganda. And it has 3,300 students. And all the 3,000 are boarders, are boarding in the school. I feed them. And besides that school, I decided to add more schools, primary and secondary. So I have 3 secondary schools and 2 primary schools. I employ 306 people who get their money every month. It was interrupted by COVID. I am proud that today I am a married woman with 3 children. I am a politician. I am a businesswoman, but I've changed the lives of my community. I have changed. The previous speaker was saying, what can you be remembered with? You come to my district, you come to my region, I am no longer called by my name. I am called by the name of mother. But in our language, it says Toto. In Kiswahili, Toto means a child. But in our local language, it is a mother. Meaning a woman who has done things to change her environment, the children. I have been able to take over 1,000 children, helpless children, free education through my schools. They have changed their lives to be nurses, teachers, policemen, police girls, especially girl children. But I did not forget the boys. Why? This world is forgetting a boy behind, and they are over-empowering girl child, and they are forgetting a boy child. So I decided to make sure that a boy child is among. What else did I do? I invested in health. People are sick every day, and people are looking for who can give them health. Who can give them health? And I was able to treat over 10,000, screen over 10,000 women with cervical cancer. Screening women. There are women who don't know what problems they have. I touched the lives of over 10,000 women using the school fees that the children were giving me. Now, when my community saw what I was doing, they asked me to represent them in parliament, which this is my second term. And when the president of Uganda saw how active I was, he appointed me a minister in charge of fisheries. Now, what am I talking about fisheries? Fisheries is the second in foreign exchange in Uganda. And if I get the right investors, it will be the best. Why? Because fisheries, God has already put the leg. God feeds the fish. Nobody gives money for feeding the fish in the water. Nobody gives that water. What investors need is to give the fisherman engine, a boat, and a right fishing nets. And the next morning, you give me, with the experience of my father buying and selling fish. I am a daughter of a fisherman, and I am now heading fisheries docket. You give a fisherman a net, engine, and a boat today. Investors the next morning, that fisherman will start paying back your money. Why? Because the market is already there. He just puts the right gear and gets that money. Catch fish, but also you can invest in aquaculture. In our homes, Uganda is one of the best countries with the climate. It's one of the best countries with the weather. There is no country as good as Uganda when it comes to weather issues. We have very good land, fertile soils, where you don't waste your money. You put it today, you get it. Now, in our land, even in the remote area, you farm the fish, the market is there. Already within Africa and out, fish is needed. And even with the swim bladder now, it is even expensive than the fish itself. So, that is what I wanted. I wanted you to know who Helen is. I started on my own, and I believed in where there is a will, there is a way. As long as you have the way will be open. And I worked hard on my own. I worked hard for my community. I am now working for my government. And I'm here to talk to investors. Don't waste your money where you don't get money. Put your money, the next morning you can get. Partner with the private sector, but also partner with the government. For example, you can partner in education. Some of you can invest in education. Because of e-learning, you can monitor, parents can pay money at home than walking into the school. They can finance their children. The children can reach the school and just press, and the administration will know that this child reported today. But all these are not there because the investors are busy investing in some areas invest in education, invest in fisheries, agriculture. Because of our good fertile soils, you can grow food and export. Other things will come during the question. I thank you.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause, please. This is an inspiration for us. And thank you, Honorable Helen Nadoa. This is amazing, and I think it will be inspiring for a lot of people because I guess a lot of people go through a lot of things in their lives, and sharing it helps us to be inspired as well. So I think let's take a step back, and I would like to get a more introduction for other people as well. So, Ms. Jennifer, the CEO of Uganda Airlines, please, if it would be great if you can introduce yourself to us as well.
Is it afternoon? Oh, great. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. I don't have a colorful story like hers. I'm very inspired, and it makes my story very tiny compared to what her story is like. My name is Jennifer. I have a very long name, second name, so we'll stick to Jennifer. I run the airline, Uganda Airlines. It's the national airline for Uganda. We're only 2 years old. We fly to Dubai 4 times a week. And we fly within East Africa as well, and actually within Africa. We're growing. We have 4 CRJs, Bombardier, and we have 2 Airbus Neo 800, but we're still growing. And that's who I am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Rita Magula, Senior Investment Executive at Uganda Investment Authority. Please take it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. My name is Rita Mugula. I'm a Senior Investment Executive with the Uganda Investment Authority. I'm an economist by profession, and the mandate of Uganda Investment Authority is to attract foreign direct investment and to grow domestic investment in the country. So basically, I'm here to promote the opportunities of Uganda to you, so that we nurture and start a profitable partnership. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rita. As I was going back to the question, and this relates to a lot of personal experience as well. I mean, I've been involved a lot with asset management and private equity, and always looking into partner up with investors who are moving into Africa. But I feel like not many people are able to do that, and there are many challenges. So first of all, is that true? Do you see lesser investments coming to the actual opportunity that entire Africa holds? Anyone?
Thank you. Basically, of course, all countries, African countries, have investment policies and laws in place that facilitate the promotion aspect. So we have different policies that we put in place, like incentivizing the policies of the country. But the major goal is basically to create competitiveness in doing business. I think the biggest hiccup most African countries are facing is the competitiveness to do business in the countries we have. So we've come up with policies like conducive investment incentives that are tailored to the foreign companies. However, most of the countries, we are looking at how we tailor them to benefit the national content as well. Because when we talk about attracting investments into Africa, our end goal is to see how this trickles down to the domestic national companies as well. It has to be a holistic, beneficial aspect. So most of the countries, if I use Uganda as an example, we have a tax incentive regime. It's non-discriminatory. And then we are also looking at how these partnerships can be formed. So we have the aspects of local content within those laws. where the benefits have both social impact as well, and how this whole investment benefits the economy holistically. I think that's, yeah.
Thank you very much.
And maybe to add on that briefly, Uganda is now a one-stop center for investment. And the laws are very protective of investors. And our president is maybe one of the best in protecting investors. So when you want to invest in Uganda, don't have any doubt, you will be protected. And in case of anything, there are already laws protecting even your money to be given back.
Okay. I mean, just to, as a follow-up question, is there any special subsidies for the FDIs or the investors coming in, or any kind of support program, if you can just shed some light on it?
Okay, yes, there is. Let me give an example. Right now, as a country, we are looking at industrialization agenda, because this is where we are looking at a lot of benefits as a nation. That includes the manufacturing sector. So we are driving hugely the export strategy or import substitution, which is still basically tagged to industrialization. So the incentives that are tagged to foreign companies that are coming into Uganda to put up industrial park, the infrastructure of industrialization, they are 10-year tax holidays, where we provide for a 10-year income tax holiday for those entities or FDIs that are coming to establish the industries within the industrial park. We are looking at special economic zones here. And then also, because we are driving the export promotion strategy, any company that is adding value, because we are looking at value addition, be it to the agriculture products, where we are really comparatively better in agriculture, or even the mineral resources we have. African countries are really resource-based. So value addition, but oriented to export promotion. If we are looking at exporting more than 80% of the products added value to, you tap into still the 10-year tax holiday, which is the income tax for any foreign company that is coming to invest. In all this, we are looking at creating a competitiveness to reduce the cost of doing business for the companies that are actually investing hugely and in those key sectors that have economical spills.
No, that's great to know that the government is definitely looking at it very positively. So let's move towards a bit of specific industries. And now that we have Ms. Jennifer over here, do you see how do you see the airline industry in Africa as an overall? Do you see a great future, not only from homegrown airlines, but other airlines also kind of looking into it? And why do you think that that region or continent is a great opportunity for the airline business itself?
For starters, the airline will be an enabler for the...
Close it.
Okay. For starters, the airline will be an enabler for both trade and tourism, which brings in the angle of investment. The opportunities for the airlines in Africa are big. One, first as airlines within Africa, supporting intertrade, and then globally. So you'll see a lot of airlines merging with interline agreements to be able to ease movement of people coming out from the global, international, into the regional of Africa. So yes, the airlines within Africa do work greatly within and without. However, there's also an element of movement of goods and services. So we'll see a lot of cargo airlines. If you remember, during the lockdowns of COVID, the airports were locked for passenger. So a lot of the airlines transformed their aircraft into cargo freighters. We saw that happening a lot with Ethiopian Airlines. We saw that happening a lot with Kenya Airways. Now, because of that background of cargo having to move and the price is really going up, we see a lot of airlines now revamping and setting up their cargo structures, because that has proven to be a more, what should I say, a more reliable source of income, because it doesn't complain. Cargo will not complain. Cargo is there depending on exactly what are you looking for. If you think about fish, there will be, the rivers and the lakes are there. There will be the fish. And what is needed is to move it from one point to the other. And that's where the airlines come in as enablers. So yes, there's a big opportunity for the countries in aviation, and especially in the cargo area.
So, sorry.
Now, to bring it down to Uganda, Uganda Airlines is setting up its cargo structure. With our Airbus Neo, we do carry cargo now, and we've been carrying a lot of cargo in different areas, pharma, foods, perishables, between Uganda and Dubai, and from Dubai to Uganda in terms of merchandise. So that's an opportunity for investment, definitely.
Sorry, so you mean that it is that industry in terms of the volume which is required to be served, I mean, the supply is not enough for the demand to be met?
The supply is created, for which, when she talks about fish, I want to talk about in agriculture. Uganda is a basket, a food basket. Everything from fruits, from vegetables, and then down to the fish, beef. We're doing lots of that in between Africa and out of Africa. So yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe to add on Jennifer's contribution, first, as a family, Uganda Airlines currently is the best modern airlines you can use. When you enter Uganda Airlines with your family, they will always give you a hard time to take them 3 times a year, because it's so beautiful. Everything is modern in Uganda Airlines. You board Uganda Airlines today, you want to board it next week, you want to board it next month. It's so beautiful for a family. 2, Uganda Airlines can invest, as she says, in cargo. Why? As she has said, Uganda is a food basket for Africa and even beyond. Last month I was here in this country, and I was asked, is there a provision of supplying 1,000 cattle here every month? So you can see what will bring. We have a lot of fruits. For example, Uganda's the best pineapple. You taste Uganda pineapple, you will not want to taste any pineapple. We can be able to be sending pineapples everywhere in the world daily if we have a lot of investment in cargo airlines. And during COVID, thousands of people in the UK, in the US, wanted fruits, especially lemons, because it was being said it's good for COVID. But there was no way they can reach there every day fresh, because the cargo airlines were very limited. People invested more in passenger and forgot about cargo. But I can tell you, investment in cargo airlines is the best, because every day you pick the fruit, you pick the fish, you pick anything as it is, and you can eat fresh as if you picked it from the garden.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the next time you're in Uganda, we need to try pineapple over there, for sure. So yeah, going back to a few of the questions, I mean, how do you see, because as Africa is very rich in terms of resources, you have, as I mentioned, diamonds and mining and infrastructure to ethanol. So which is the few of the very top 3 areas or industries which are most interesting for the foreign investors to kind of start investing and moving?
Okay, thank you. currently, we are driving the industrialization agenda as a country. So all sectors that are tailored to driving industrialization, this is where we come up with value addition. So as Honorable has mentioned, agriculture is a backbone, Uganda's backbone. So we'll start with that. And food, it's inevitable. We need to feed, we need to consume. So as a country, we are looking at how we maximize with what we do comparatively well. So one of the key sectors we are driving and looking at is agro-industrialization. So investors, if we are to call, it would be to add value to the various agricultural products. This includes the food basket that has been mentioned, and most of the produce we currently do is exported with very little value added to it. So we are driving, adding value to the agriculture products, the various products. That's key. And this is a range from the up to fisheries. But the other key sector, let's not overlook tourism. Uganda is a very beautiful country. So there are some sectors that come easy. It's naturally endowed. There are a lot of beautiful sites. So we are driving tourism as another key sector. And here we are looking at construction of lodges, accommodation, and different parks of entertainment. So tourism is another key sector that we are driving. Recently, the way I've said, we are naturally, we have a lot of natural resources. So we are looking at the mineral beneficiation aspect. Here, this is where we also have oil and gas. It's a very key sector that is coming up right now. We've just finished the final investment decision. So we are looking at the infrastructure aspect in producing the oil. But also minerals are variant. We have gold, we have cobalt and copper, but our drive is to add value to all these resources. So that's key. But I won't forget infrastructure. As the airline has said, it's a key driver to investment. So when you talk about infrastructure, we are looking at the airports, we are looking at the roads, we are looking at the rail, because to be able to grow and develop a country, we need to find a passage of getting in and out of the country. So quickly, those are many, but there are so many. When I talk about manufacturing, not to go, let me talk about pharmaceutical. With this COVID era, the pharmaceutical sector has come up really hugely, where we are empowering the locals to manufacture all these medicines, where we want to see how value is added, especially with this current lockdown. We went, hubs, exactly, natural resources we can use to empower the manufacturing sector. And to conclude, ICT, technology, it's inevitable. E-commerce has really come up with a boom. So in quick, those are some of the 5 sectors that could drive, could drive the sector. And we are looking for investment.
I'd like to say something she touched on infrastructure and technology. In the past, to get in and out of Africa, you'd have to go via an intermediary point, either to Brussels or to France, to be able to leave East Africa to West Africa or to Central Africa. So now with the airlines within Africa growing, it eases movement within Africa, even for investors. It doesn't make sense for you to leave France or to leave Dudab to Dubai. You're going to Central Africa or to West Africa, and you're going through 3 countries in Europe for you to get to a country in Africa. So the rise of airlines with partnerships enables you to move into one African country, connect onto another airline within Africa to get to your point. And the infrastructure she's talking about is very important, even for tourism, because the time you spend getting into this country should be minimized to enable you to enjoy your experience in Uganda.
And maybe talking about in infrastructure, there are some connections. For example, instead of you investing in a ferry, either government or individual investing in a ferry, from here for like 10 kilometers, you will spend more money in a due course maintaining the ferry compared to building a road. Because if you build a road 10 kilometers along the water bodies, it is cheaper than maintaining the ferry that in either way. So there is a lot of investment for roads in order to ease movement for the tourists. So that's what the point. But when you ask which areas can we invest, as she has said, Uganda now is on industrialization. But as I said before, in Uganda you can come and invest in ICT, education, health, environment. For example, you plant your trees today in Uganda, 5 years down the road, you get lots of money because timber is now the current, you can, 5 years down the road, you get good timber and you can't believe what you will get out of that timber because your trees will not easily die. The weather is very good.
Well, thank you so much. Just on that point, ladies and gentlemen, I would request, because we have some panel discussion going on, if you pay attention to our speakers, it will be great because there are a lot of insights that we're getting over here. So we'll just continue with a few more questions and we'll be ending this panel discussion, especially moving on the digitalization side. I would like to ask Jennifer, what will be the effects of digital transformation and how can investors monetize on them?
We'll look at the aviation industry. In the past, to book a ticket, even from, let's say, India or Dubai, we relied on telephones, but now so much has changed. We have a lot of digitalization in aviation, from the booking point to the time you get onto the aircraft, through the airport, onto the aircraft, the pilots, the airline itself. To be able to get you onto my airline, you need to have booked me through the website. So we find that innovation, technology is very important for airlines. If there was one mishap, even in any airline, any airport, we wouldn't take off because there's nowhere we can communicate. So how can people tap into this? Airlines rely a lot on systems. Systems even for a basic thing like customer care. For you to be able to come back and enjoy my service in the airline, I need to know your profile. I need to know what are your likes, what are your dislikes, where do you prefer to sit, how would you like to pay. In Africa, we have something called mobile money, which is not very big outside Africa. Through your phone, you make payment from your bank to your next customer. So how can people invest? They can invest in the mobile area, but also with airlines in as little as CRM. Very important, because we're moving from where the passenger is a number, and we're moving to hospitality. Uganda is very hospitable. As an airline, we're investing a lot in softwares that can enhance our hospitality. So when you come and fly with me, I should be able to remember that the last time you flew, you preferred to sit the aisle. The type of meal you requested for maybe was vegan or vegetarian. I need to not even ask you, do you have a special meal request? I need to say, the last time you flew, you requested for a vegetable meal. Is that something you still want? So there's a lot of need in CRM to be able to enhance our customer service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I just would like to have the final comments one by one from all of you. So Ms. Rita, going first with you, what do you think, what is the message that you would like to give in terms of the investors who is looking into doing something in Africa?
Thank you. My key message, when I look at the general investment needs of Africa, one of the biggest hiccups is access to credit. And why we promote foreign direct investment, we are looking at it as being a stimulus in a way. So my key call is the emphasis of partnership. We are driving foreign direct investment, but we need it to be anchored and aligned to the existing domestic investors within Uganda. Because at the end of it all, we are looking at creating employment, which trickles down to income within the nation, but also through these partnerships, issues like access to credit can be solved, especially for the local companies. And then also we appreciate the technological expertise, the advanced companies that come. So we are really looking at the technology transfer and skilling aspect. So my call is for all those investments, because from the developed countries that we are promoting to, we need to find a way of how we align them to the national content, but basically to empower the national companies as well that are already existing, so that we, as a country, it's a holistic approach in development.
Very well said. Thank you so much. Honorary Helen Natua. So, yeah, you want to be last? Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, why don't you please do your closing comments?
Without really taking much time, as an airline, our mandate is to promote tourism of the country, like she mentioned. And as a country, a few things she said were, we have lots of land, so there is need for accommodation, good accommodation, luxury, well-run hotels. That's a place where investment can be. We as an airline, our duty is to make sure that we ease your way in and out of the country. You're able to decide, I come in Monday, I leave Sunday. Not a bother, with how you come in and how you get out. So as an enabler, as an airline, we will enable the investor to get into the country and invest in those areas that have been mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For me, my word to investors is one, I personally have a lot of land. Come and invest in my land and partner with me. Two, come and partner with my district. My district has vast land. Change the community that I live and represent in parliament. My district will want investors to come and change the environment. Then lastly, come and invest with my government. My government has a lot of land. My Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries has got vast land. It is the biggest with the land in Uganda. And come and produce a lot of crops, come and produce a lot of fruits, come and produce and invest in the animal industry, come and invest in fish. And when you produce more, add value addition, and then you can export in anywhere in the world, because you would have produced there. By the time you export, it will be tripling your profits, because it is cheaper to produce in Uganda, put value addition, and then you export. Almost all what you get will be at free cost. So I want to ask you to come and invest with us. But above all, allow me thank Dorothy. This is the first time somebody recognizes that Helen Adoa has done something and deserves to be brought to. This is the first time I'm coming to talk to investors at a conference like this, where I can meet other ladies, women who have invested in different ways. I have been wanting to talk my story, but nobody gives opportunity. And I'm so happy to be here. I am very grateful to Dorothy. I thank you, Dorothy, for changing my life to come and share with investors, my story, success story, but also ask the investors to come and invest in our country. I thank you.
Well, thank you very much, all the panelists over here. It was a pleasure and it was very insightful. We have some of the investors over here who would like to connect whenever, I mean, obviously, once after the lunch. People would like to talk to you, specific opportunities and so on. So thank you so much, everyone.